Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to High Stakes and another episode of Fantasy First. I'm your host, Tom Kaufman, and I know it's been a while, guys. I've had a couple things going on in my life personally. Had a couple job interviews, just things going on. My sister's leaving for college in a couple weeks, so I've kind of been, spending all my time with her, playing video games and stuff. But we're here, and we're still dedicated to providing you guys with top-notch fantasy content. And today, I am privileged once again to be joined by Buffalo's own 91.3 FM WBNY's general manager, Nicholas Lippa. Nick, what's going on, partner?
Nothing much, Tom. Thanks for such a kind introduction. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful today. It's August 11th, which means football is going to be here real soon, and everybody's excited. And today's video, now that we're in camp, we kind of have this predetermined value of where guys are going to go right now, but obviously things are subject to change. Once training camp gets underway, once we find out what's going on with injuries. So today I want to talk about, training camp battles that are really important to watch going forward as to help you get the best value that you could possibly get for your fantasy teams. So, Nick, why don't you kick us off here? What's one matchup that you're really keeping your eye on this training camp?
As far as the depth chart's concerned, Martavis Bryant is definitely going to be the number 2 guy on the depth chart. But as far as fantasy production is concerned, Ben Roethlisberger made a comment about how many strides Marcus Wheaton has made coming into the season. I think that's something to take note of, especially because Bryant's going at some drafts 4th round, where Wheaton's going undrafted in a lot of other rounds. Mm-hmm. You really need to look at Marcus Wheaton as a guy who could either A, put up some serious production, or B, eat into Martavis Bryant's production. When you're looking at it, Bryant's going to be the better guy here, but looking at the two people, there's going to be 2 mouths to feed here that aren't named Antonio Brown. And I think Marcus Wheaton could be closer to Bryant than a lot of people suspect.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And let's not forget, Le'Veon Bell's a catch monster himself. He's going to take away targets from those guys. I think when I look at it, I think that Martavis Bryant is definitely the superior talent here. But definitely, anytime a quarterback talks a guy up, we're questioning whether it's a smoke screen or whether it's reality. When I look at Marcus Wheaton, he's in year 3 now. I feel like if we were really going to see that kind of burst in talent, it would have been last year. But again, guys do take 3 years to develop. That's kind of how it's been. That's been the regime of the NFL. Not everybody's Odell Beckham or Mike Evans or Sammy Watkins. So, there's still that, kind of assumed developmental period. Again, when I look at Martavis, though, the size and the speed is so tantalizing to me. And I definitely think that he will lock down that 2. But I think you're right, Nick. I think that Marcus Wheaton could sneakily take a little bit of production away from Martavis. Now, Marcus Wheaton was on the field last year with Bryant, and Bryant still had the 8 touchdowns. I think that when you're drafting Martavis Bryant, I do think, even though the old adage is not to chase the touchdowns, I think with Martavis, you're chasing the touchdowns there.
Just don't do it in the 4th round if you're me personally. I think I'm going to say 6th round. I think, Tom, you've been saying that for a while.
I'm all in on the 6th round. I just think 5th to 4th is just too high for a guy that'll be boom or bust.
Agreed.
So that is definitely something you're going to want to watch as training camp progresses, because if you overvalue Martavis, you could be shooting yourself in the foot. So watch out.
Yep.
So another training camp battle here. We know that Andrew Luck is arguably the best talented quarterback in the NFL at age 25. The Colts recently used a first-round acquisition on wide receiver Philip Dorsett from the U. And obviously we know that Dante Moncrief, a past 3rd-round draft pick. Was he a 3rd-round pick? I think Moncrief was.
Yeah, I believe so.
2013. Talk about Philip Dorsett versus Dante Moncrief.
2014.
Thank you. Talk about that battle, because Andre Johnson and T.Y. Hilton kind of seem to be entrenched as the 1 and 2, however you decide to put it. I think Andre will probably be the 1 just because he'll be the possession guy. What are you looking at in terms of this battle between Dorsett and Moncrief, and why you want to target these guys at value?
Yeah, the Colts love Dorsett. All we hear are good things about Dorsett. Dorsett's a guy who's going late in the drafts, and he reminds me a lot of Devontae Adams in Green Bay. Just a really good situation. Just buy everybody who is in a Packer or Colt uniform this year on offense, because Andrew Luck's going to throw for probably 4,500 plus yards, and he's going to throw for most likely 35 plus touchdowns. So when you're looking at it there, somebody's got to get those yards, somebody's got to get those touchdowns. T.Y. Hilton before last year has been injured every year with his frame and size. I'm not buying that he's going to be healthy 2 straight years. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. However, with all that volume in that offense, it's just a matter of time before somebody gets dinged up for a game. That means that you're going to have a number 2 receiver at least 1 week during the year with a guy like Phillip Dorsett, who's the guy they've been talking up. Moncrief's not a bad option either. Both of them are good options to have.
And that's a fantastic point you make about someone eventually getting nicked up, because we know that this offense runs through Andrew Luck. The one thing that I find that I'm scratching my head about here, frankly, is apparently T.Y. Hilton wants Dez Bryant money. I think that's asinine. I hate to throw that word around, but
no, I agree.
I mean, this guy's not Dez Bryant. I mean, you've benefited from Andrew Luck as your quarterback, and I think I can say the same thing about Dez Bryant. You know, Tony Romo's accurate down the field, but Dez Bryant, the size, the specimen, the plays that he makes after the catch, the way he high points the ball, this dude is a legit elite freak at the position. T.Y. Hilton's just another third-round pick whose production is inflated because of your quarterback play.
Yeah, and I don't like to use size necessarily to trump somebody's argument. As you know, my personal belief is Antonio Brown is the best receiver in the NFL.
And you know that I agree with you there. So, but keep going.
But I agree with you here with T.Y. Hilton that his size has caused him before this year as well. He's been dinged up. His consistency is not on the level of one of those type of receivers. That's what I'm really looking for. And while last year he started to show it, he was also really the only relevant option for Andrew Luck. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at this year. There's a lot more mouths to feed. We're really going to see if T.Y. is that type of elite receiver this year. I'm not betting on him there. I like Andre almost. I like Andre to have more production this year personally in that Colt offense. And I think that you're getting better value with Dorsett and Moncrief. And personally, I like Dorsett better than Moncrief because of the talent level Dorsett has. And even if I didn't think so, the Colts sure do. The Colts really love Dorsett, and you can see it. They don't stop talking about it.
Absolutely. I know that you're on record saying that the Colts should have drafted safety Landon Collins.
Because I'm all about wins in the NFL when you draft. Yeah. But and that's what the Colts need. However, if you're talking about for fantasy, anybody who gets Andrew Luck should be very happy they drafted Phillip Dorsett.
But that's my point that I'm saying is they must have really loved Dorsett to go out and use a first-round investment on him.
100% with you there, Tom.
So, again, it's going to be another fantastic year. I think the Colts were the number 1 offense in the league last year, and I would just with more receiving talent, with Frank Gore, Boom Herron, I expect that trend to continue, especially when especially when you're playing the NFC South as your NFC opposition this year. So definitely something to watch out for, though, that Phillip Dorsett, Dante Moncrief, because, again, you said the value is so much better than a T.Y. Hilton. What is he going in the third round now? Third round. If I'm playing in standard leagues, I'd rather take a chance on a Latavius Murray, a Mark Ingram, a Lamar Miller, who apparently the reports out there are raving about him. I'd rather take a chance on a running back like that, and then later in the rounds, scoop up a Dorsett, scoop up of Dante Moncrief. So definitely a good point there, Nick. Moving on to the New York Football Giants. Apparently, Rashad Jennings is taking second-team reps, and Andre Williams is the starter right now, not confirmed as going into the season, but he's atop the depth chart come camp and preseason. What do we make about this New York Giants running game here in this Ben McAdoo system, Nick?
I really, really like Rashad Jennings. I think he's a runner that runs with patience and is explosive once he makes his decision to get downfield. He's just a smart runner. The problem is he gets injured. He's already injured. He will be injured. There's no doubt he is going to be injured at some point, which immediately makes me go, Andre Williams is your guy. Mm-hmm. Williams is a guy to buy, no doubt, in drafts. Don't take him too high because, again, Shane Vereen is there, and Shane Vereen is going to be catching lots of balls this year. And even if Williams maybe he gets like 30 catches this year, even if he gets to there, that's a very, very high expectation for what his role is probably going to be in the offense. And you're expecting that he's going to get 3 catches a game, 2 catches to 3 catches a game. And I think that's a decent amount for Williams this year, especially because of where Vereen is. However, I just think that he's going to carry the ball so much it's not going to matter. Anything he does after he carries the ball is just going to be a cherry on top. The man had touchdowns last year in his rookie season. He's going to get touchdowns again this year. It's just what he does. He will get the volume, and he's all upside. Anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, go look at that St. Louis Rams run he had last year where he just plowed over people. That's on YouTube.
Yeah, dude, I've watched Andre Williams film. Me personally, I haven't seen a guy that fast that can hit you that hard in a long time. I go back to probably in his prime, Maurice Jones-Drew is the last time I've seen a guy that can just kind of put on the afterburners right after trucking a dude. I mean, most of these bruiser type of backs that you see out there, Brandon Jacobs in the past, these bigger types of backs, they don't have that home run speed that Andre Williams has. And for me, that's what's so alluring about this guy, is that if you want to come up and you want to tackle me 3-4 yards into the tackle box, that's fine. Embrace for an impact, because once I'm done running you over, there's an opportunity for me to take it to the house because I can outrun a safety. So,
yeah. And I'm with you there. The one thing that we got to see from Andre, though, is his vision at the line.
Yeah.
But I'm saying regardless of his vision at the line, he's going to get so much volume it's not going to matter this year. Jennings will be hurt. Vereen won't be an every down back. That leaves Williams at the top of the depth chart. As long as he does not fumble the ball, we all know Tom Coughlin. What happens when you fumble?
The doghouse.
All right, as long as he does not fumble the ball this preseason, Andre Williams, you got to buy him. You got to buy him good. I'd buy him in the 6th round, honestly, if he's going to be there at the end of preseason.
Definitely. Moving on, Charles Johnson, Mike Wallace. The Vikings recently acquired Mike Wallace in a trade for a 4th and 5th round pick, I believe. Excuse me, not the Dolphins, the Vikings. And obviously Charles Johnson really came on at the end of last year. Both these guys are slightly similar in ADP. I think Charles Johnson right now is a 7th to 9th rounder, while Mike Wallace is a 10th to 11th. Who do you like personally to put up better production in this Norv Turner, Teddy Bridgewater with Adrian Peterson offense?
You know, sometimes I see in drafts Mike Wallace get taken before Charles Johnson. It's been flippity-floppity, really, with these two guys. And I got to tell you right now, Charles Johnson is the guy you buy. Charles Johnson has the upside. Charles Johnson plays the role Josh Gordon did for the Vikings, except he is the most underrated receiver, I will say this right now, in the NFL, because he couldn't even find his own jersey for his kid when he wanted to buy one for him.
That's
in
pretty
Minnesota.
crazy. Wow.
But anybody who watched him last year, I'll tell you right now, Charles Johnson is the real deal. Norv Turner loves him. Adrian Peterson's there, which means that there's going to be single coverage for this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Wallace is playing in a contract year, essentially, because the Vikings can cut him with little consequence after this year. However, Charles Johnson is my guy. I take him in the 7th round. Mike Wallace is not a bad choice either, because the question is, do you trust Teddy Bridgewater? Do you trust Adrian Peterson to do what he's done all those years? And if you answered yes to both those guys are good picks, but I would take Charles Johnson well ahead of Mike Wallace.
Definitely. And we saw Teddy Bridgewater really have an affinity for Charles Johnson at the end of the year. Plus, this guy was one of the most accurate deep ball passers at the end of the year. I think I read a statistic somewhere where he was top 5 accuracy-wise in terms of passes 20-plus yards or more down the field. So Teddy Bridgewater is definitely a guy you want to buy dynasty stock in.